Today we're going to be speaking about the NIW EB2 National Interest Waiver. So we're going to get down into what are the requirements, what is the EB2 NIW visa, and who qualifies, right? So let's start from the beginning. What is the EB2 NIW visa? This is, I think, the visa of 2021. Everyone's been talking about it. Everyone has questions about it. So it's a immigrant visa. That means it leads to a green card. Okay, so you have to separate it into two parts. The first part analyzes whether you as an individual qualify for the NIW National Interest Waiver. Okay, and the second part goes into the actual residency application. So whether you're inside the United States as doing an adjustment of status, or whether you're abroad doing a consular process, that's going to be stage 2, the residency application process. So what is a national interest waiver? What does that look like? What are the requirements that you need to qualify? The idea here with the national interest waiver is you are asking USCIS, the immigration entity here in the United States, to forego you needing a job offer, a sponsor, anything of that sort. So what you're doing is you're self-petitioning for the green card, for permanent residency, because it's so important that you be here in the United States. It's such in the interest of the United States that you be here that they're gonna forget the fact that usually you need a job offer, you need a sponsor, and they're gonna say you are so important, okay, and we need you here, so we're gonna forego that. Okay, so that's the idea with the national interest waiver, and what you need to do is you need to show that you qualify based on one of two options. So the first option is the advanced degree option. That just means that you have a master's degree, right? So either a US master's degree or a foreign equivalent, or that you have a bachelor's degree, so a US bachelor's degree or a foreign equivalent plus 5 years of experience. So if you have a US degree, that's great, you can use the US degree. If you have a degree from abroad, what we do is we request a foreign credential evaluation. So there's many companies that what they do is they evaluate your degree and they say, okay, based on the degree that you have, the years of schooling, the classes that you took, you have the equivalent of this degree in the United States. Okay, so if you do have schooling abroad, what we do is we request that credential evaluation to show that you have the equivalent of a US degree. So great, if you either have that master's degree or the bachelor's degree plus 5 years of experience, you right there, you meet the advanced degree requirement. Okay, and if that's what you meet, then what you have to do in addition to that is show, okay, I meet the advanced degree requirement, but in addition to that, I'm going to show now why it's in the national interest of the United States that I come. Okay, if you do not have the degrees, right, to meet that advanced degree requirement, there's a second option. And that second option is what's called exceptional ability. So you need to meet 3 of 7 categories in order to show that you are an individual of exceptional ability. So the categories for exceptional ability are an official academic record showing that you have a degree, a diploma, a certificate, or similar award from a college, university, school. So it doesn't need to necessarily be a master's degree or a bachelor's degree. It needs to be the degree that's required for the field that you work in. So a really common example that we're hearing right now is that of pilots, right? You're not required to have a master's degree to be a pilot, but if you have a degree that helps you with that field, then we can go ahead and we can use that degree, that diploma, that certificate, right? And we can show you meet this requirement because you have the degree necessary for your field. Okay, so that's one of them. The second one is showing that you have 10 years of full-time experience. So I think it's pretty straightforward what that means. If you have 10 years of experience, for example, as a pilot, then we have to show employment experience letters showing that you meet that 10-year requirement. Let's say you work as a manager, you work as an accountant, something like that. And so some of your experience is in the actual field that you work in now. Some of it was, let's say, as an assistant. So in that case, we have to look at it, we have to evaluate it based on what the field that you work on and see really if we could still use that experience to meet that 10-year requirement. Okay, next, moving on, a license to practice your profession or certification for your profession or occupation. So I think this really, you use this a lot when it comes to like a doctor, for example. If you are a doctor and you did complete your schooling here in the United States and you do have that license necessary to practice that profession, then we can go ahead and include this here. That's generally going to be if you completed US schooling. It's much more common, but I've also seen this used, for example, as a pilot, right? If you have that license to be a pilot, then we can use that here. Okay, so next, moving on. Evidence that you have commanded a salary or other remuneration for services that demonstrate your exceptional ability. So here, what USCIS is really looking for is to see that you have a salary, and generally we want to show that it's a high salary compared to others that work in your field. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to show, pay stubs, for example, your foreign tax returns, or if you're in the United States, your tax returns here, things like that to show that you earned a high salary. Another one that we can use is recognition for your achievements and significant contributions to your industry or field by your peers, government entities, professional or business organizations. So here, what we're going to include is letters of recommendation from your colleagues, right? Other experts in the field. If you have any awards, that's something that we can definitely put here. If you've received recognition from organizations in your field, that's something that we can use here to meet this requirement, okay? And then lastly, it's kind of a catch-all. It's all other comparable evidence of eligibility that's also accepted. So here, let's say you've authored books, we can include that here. You've spoken at conferences. Let's say you have press about you and what you've done in the field. Really, this is a kind of a catch-all. If you have anything else that can be used to show what you've done in the field, to show your work, we can put that here in this category, okay? So those are the 7 criterions for this second option of exceptional ability. And just like the first option, we still have to go ahead and move and show, okay, I do meet 3 of these 7 criteria, but in addition to that, I also am going to show that I meet the National Interest Waiver requirement, okay? So I want to talk a little bit more about this National Interest requirement. What does that mean? What does USCIS ask for when they're asking for proof of this, right? And so one of the things that they're looking for is to show that the field that you work in, right, has substantial merit and substantial importance. So we want to show, okay, this field is important to the U.S. economy. This field is important to the U.S. industry, maybe a specific industry. I've worked with a lot of people in the gas industry, for example, and I think it's it's pretty easy to explain why that industry is so important in the United States. So really, the idea is showing, okay, why is this industry that the individual is working in so important to the United States? Okay, once we do that, then we can go into showing that this individual, you're well positioned in this field of endeavor. So one of the things that I really like to do, having done a lot of NIWs, is even if you meet the advanced degree exception, right, of having that master's or the bachelor's plus 5 years of experience, I still like to go in and show that you have an exceptional ability, and that you meet some of those requirements that I just explained, because those requirements really go to show that you're well positioned in the industry. So that's something that I like to do. Even if you have the advanced degree, we still go through and we include an explanation of why you meet some of these other items, right, for the exceptional ability requirement, to show that you're really well positioned in the industry, okay? And then lastly, why would it be beneficial to the United States to waive the requirement of the job offer, right? To let you be your self-sponsor, to let you skip this requirement of having a job offer, a company sponsoring you here in the United States. And so what we want to do is we want to show that there's a need for you, for someone in your industry to come here. Something that's been very popular lately is this talk about pilots, right? There's a shortage of pilots that we know, and we can explain that and we can document that and show that that's the reason why we need this individual here. Something that I recently was working on was someone in the supply management industry, right? So supply management is a really, really big topic now since the COVID-19 pandemic started. So that's something that you can go in and I think easily explain the need for an individual like that in the United States. So the good news about the NIW is that really a lot of people can qualify for the NIW visa. And there's really no requirements as to what field you're in, what it is you do. As long as we can show that there's a national interest for you to come here to the United States, right, then that profession, in my opinion, qualifies for the EB2 visa. Okay, so if you have questions, if you want to know whether you qualify, I'm happy to help you with that process. You can contact us. Our info is info@abeckjerlaw.com. Our phone number, you can call us, write to us by text message or WhatsApp, is 305-563-1977. Thank you.